What's up, YouTube? Christo here. Back with another video. It started to get dark for my Destroyer His Hero's Gone video, but I got the blinds open, I got the light on, so I should be good for now. I figure might as well get the videos done while I've got time, because I'm really bad for that kind of stuff. I've got a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of vinyl. Haven't even scratched the surface yet, so we're going to keep plowing through. This time, the Lips bands, specifically Black Lips and Flaming Lips. Now, I have to totally admit that both of these bands are kind of, I don't know, I'm past my heyday for them, past my apex for them. They've kind of waned, in my opinion, for a few reasons, but you know, I'll kind of get there, address that when we get to the records. But yeah, I definitely had a time and place where I was like really into Flaming Lips and really into Black Lips. Different times, but just not really into them now. I very rarely listen to them, with one exception, but again, I'll kind of get there, or mention it when I get there. A couple 7-inches from the Black Lips. This is a 7-inch single that came with, oh geez, I don't even remember, Arabia Mountain. This is Wildest Dreams with the B-side Sing-Along. Nothing particularly interesting, just a standard 7-inch. I don't believe these appear on the record. I did get a limited edition version, which I was lucky because it was basically the same price as the regular version, and I found it in a record store, so it was really cheap. Didn't have to pay outrageous shipping or anything on it. Gonna be honest, I haven't even put this on my turntable yet, and I've had this for, I don't know, nearly a year now. Whatever, like I said, I'm not hugely into Black Lips at the moment. I'm sure eventually I'll kind of come around to them again, as, you know, I do go through cycles, as most music lovers do, but just not particularly into them at the moment. Funny, I believe, I'm not sure if this is a single. Yeah, it's just a single. Record Store Day from a couple years ago. Nothing particularly great. Nice marbled black and gray vinyl though, which is kind of cool. The Death in June symbol. I know it's not the Death in June symbol, but that's what I thought when I opened it. I actually thought for a minute they put the wrong record in, but it is the right album or record. I got to admit, like, I don't know, the direction the Black Lips are going in isn't my kind of favorite era. I like the earlier, jangly, more psychedelic, lo-fi stuff. Their new stuff is good, but it's just getting a bit too poppy for me. And this is kind of like, to me, their last really great album. And even then, I prefer a few of their earlier records before this. Veni Vidi Vici, great song. Oh Katrina. But what makes everyone love this is it has Bad Kids. I don't really remember the connection. A friend of mine actually saw Black Lips in Toronto 2 years ago or so, and everyone left after this one song, and I turned to my friend, I was like, what's going on? And the concert's not even over. Like, oh, they played Bad Kids, and that's all that everyone wants to hear when they see them. I was like, really? She's like, yeah, they're just a bunch of like poser millennial kids that, I don't know, it was from a movie or a TV show or something, so everybody just wanted to hear Bad Kids and then left. And because there were people like, play Bad Kids, come on, play Bad Kids, and they literally played it and everybody left. They played like 2 more tracks, and then they went off the stage, and like the 20 people there called for an encore. They came back out, did 2 or 3 more songs for an encore, which is cool because I was right up at the front of the stage. They played a really good show. And they did play some of their older stuff that I really enjoy as well, so that was kind of cool. Arabia Mountain, I have such little experience with this. This is one of their newer records. I think I listened to this like once when I first picked it up. It's okay. It's much more polished, much more hi-fi sounding. You can tell they actually know how to play their instruments now and stuff. I do have the kind of, I don't know, translucent marbled peach. It is kind of see-through. a bit more desirable than the black record. You know, Black Lips are not a particularly a high-yielding, you know, record collector artist, but it's still pretty cool to have. I always like to have the limited editions if at all possible. Now this is another record. This is something different. This was basically my introduction to Black Lips. I probably heard them for about the first time maybe, when is this from? 2005. So yeah, I was a bit late to the game, so probably about 2008 or 2008 or so, 2009 maybe. And I heard this, as like, wow, this is really cool. This is like really psychedelic punk rock, garage, lo-fi, whatever. Very heavy drug influence, you can tell. And this does have a couple of my all-time favorite songs. Boomerang, Hippie Hippie Hurrah, Can't Dance. There's a few really great tracks on here. To me, this is like the best cover-to-cover Black Lips record. Let It Bloom, by the way, I don't even think I mentioned the name. Standard black pressing, nothing particularly interesting, but this is good. It's cheap and easy to find as well. The self-titled album, the first one, this one, on the other hand, is just a little bit too sloppy, a little bit too maybe nondescript. It doesn't really do a lot for me compared to like the following couple albums. I don't even think I put this on my turntable since like the day after I picked it up. It just didn't really move me much, and I haven't really revisited it. I don't remember if I have an MP3 version of this or not. If I do, I haven't listened to it, you know, ever probably. And this is a really great record as well. We Did Not Know the Forest Spirit Made the Flowers Grow. This is definitely my second favorite after Let It Bloom. A few really great tracks on here. M.I.A., wow, what an awesome opening track for sure. Everything else on here is pretty good. I think Ghetto Cross is kind of goofy. I don't know, kind of unlistenable to me. Like a really bad, I don't know, ballad or something. I'm not really sure. But other than that, it's a pretty good record. Again, this is pretty easy to find. It's been reissued or repressed at least a few times. So you can pick this up for pretty cheap. So, Flaming Lips, let's get into them. Now, I've only got the 1 7-inch, and I should mention as well, Flaming Lips, I kind of have an interesting relationship with them. Back in the 90s, when I was, like, too cool for school, like, really, I still am snobby with music and stuff, but, like, when alternative and grunge and stuff was big in the 90s, and I was into, like, Nirvana and Sonic Youth and Jesus Lizard and stuff. And I remember the She Don't Use Jelly song. I don't even know what the name of it is. That could be it. But I hated it. I absolutely hated it. I was like, man, this is, you know, pop, crap, garbage. Like, just couldn't stand it. And it kind of soured my opinion of Flaming Lips for a really long time. To be fair, I still don't really like that song or that album. But I did really get into them probably about 2007 or so. I was like hugely into Flaming Lips. Like, I love them. I had like so many of their albums on CD. I was listening to them every day on my way to work with my MP3 player, my my iPod and stuff, and like just, you know, all the time. Absolutely love them. This is a little picture disc, 7-inch. I believe this is a Record Store Day release. This is the Yeah 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 song with Why Does It End on the B-side. Not even a great track from At War with the Mystics. It's okay. There's a few tracks on the album I like a lot more. I haven't even listened to this since I picked it up. I think I got it for like $4 or $5. Added into an order I made on Discogs, so I figured why not. It's a limited picture disc from a band that I kind of like still, from an era that I kind of like still, so why not? Embryonic, this is kind of like, to me, my exiting point from Flaming Lips. I like this, and I've listened to this a couple times since I picked it up quite recently, and I still enjoy it. I think it's a pretty good record, but I think they just started getting a bit too focused with appealing to like Miley Cyrus's fans and stuff, which is just weird. Like if you would have asked me, I don't know, 10 years ago or whatever, who would be collaborating with the Flaming Lips, I never would have thought Miley Cyrus, let alone numerous times on numerous albums, you know, in numerous formats and whatever. I don't know, whatever. This is a pretty standard blue, and I know the other one's a different color. I want to say yellow. I can't remember. I haven't listened to this in such a long time. I think another problem with this, I think there's just too much music on it. Yeah, it is clear yellow, translucent yellow, or kind of murky yellow. I think there's just too much music on this, and for the most part, it's a really good album, but I think there's just too much to take in, and I think they're just putting out too many albums. They're releasing like an album of original music, or, you know, live tracks or alternative takes, like seemingly every couple months now. I don't know what's going on. I heard Wayne Coyne got divorced, so maybe his wife's like rinsing him for all he's got. I don't know, but I think they're just putting out too much music and kind of trying to, I don't know, put themselves out there for a really different crowd than I think were really into them 10 years ago and whatnot, and it's just not really the kind of stuff that appeals to me. The Terror, this is the last album I picked up by them. I put this on my turntable once, and I don't know, I just wasn't really in the mood for it. It's a pretty dark, miserable album. It's meant to be really nice. I definitely want to re-listen to it, but I just haven't really been in a Flaming Lips, I don't know, kind of mood or, you know, atmosphere recently, so maybe I'll wait for a while to put this on. Very critically acclaimed, like their last release that was really critically acclaimed. Speaking of critical acclaim, this is my favorite Flaming Lips album, which is funny because it's kind of changed numerous times. The Soft Bulletin was my favorite for a really long time, but when I listen to it now, I find it to sound quite dated and very 90s. Then At War at the Mystics was my favorite for a little while, and when I listen to that, it's like, yeah, not the best. But then this has kind of been my favorite for, you know, a few years now. I do listen to this now and again. I listen to this way more than anything else from them, but still not a heck of a lot, I'd say. I do like to put this on late at night. Very atmospheric record, really, really good. Really unique sound, I think, for the time, for being a semi-mainstream band as well. Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots, if I didn't mention. The name you probably know because it's quite an iconic record. And Zyureka, this is the Record Store Day reissue or repressing, I think from 2015 or 14. I picked this up used for a very good price, considering it's what, four LPs, yeah, 4 LP set. Now the problem with this is, to essentially listen to it properly, you need 4 devices. Each one of these records plays a slightly different track. Although they are the same track, it's just different layers for those tracks. So it's like record 1, 2, 3, 4, all put down together, played at exactly the same time, creates all the layers and brings forward, you know, the proper sound for the record. You know, how impossible is it to actually queue up 4 turntables, you know, to play at the precise volume with the precise, you know, levels at the precise time, etc., etc. It's just impossible. It's more doable on CD, but even then, like, just that half a second time from when you press play to when the record actually starts is different on every CD player ever, unless you have 4 the exact same. But it's just such a it's a cool idea. I like it. It's, you know, artsy, creative, but it's just such an impractical format. It is good. I can't say I've listened to it properly. I have listened to versions on YouTube that apparently have all 4 layers perfectly timed and everything, but You know, it's on MP3 coming out of computer speakers, so it's not how it should be, but it's cool. I like it. It's a good sound. It is from that Soft Bulletin Yoshimi kind of sound, where they got a little bit more hi-fi, a little bit more well polished, actually learned how to play their instruments, etc. But it's cool. I picked it up for cheap. I don't know why, but I think they just pressed way more than people were gonna buy. They probably assumed it was gonna sell like insane for record store day, because the original was kind of, you know, one of these you know, rarities, like, you know, just obscure record from back in the day, and then they re-released it for record store day, which is kind of ho-hum. So there we go. That's a lot of records for one day, but I still got tons and tons and tons more. Maybe I'll get some more tomorrow, we'll see, but I'm definitely gonna try to keep at it and get up as many as I can in the shortest time possible. So thanks for sticking with me through all that. I appreciate it, and I'll see you again soon.